Guys, welcome back to DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. Where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. Please subscribe and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. So in today's video, we're going to show you where the $400 million claim that I put on the thumbnail comes from, with some numbers. And obviously it's just pure speculation, but again, you guys, if you follow me, you know I like to play with numbers and like to look in things, see stats and find trends. And you know, it doesn't mean anything's going to go that direction, but at least it gives you some hope in regards to what you're doing with your financial investments and speculations in this wild, wild west. So before we continue, you need to take in some assumptions, right? So I've always used the analogy about crypto adoption and kind of going down the funnel and where we're at. So for today's video, we're going to assume that crypto is equal to the world global population, like not equal as in numbers, but just to find the correlations, right? And DeFi would be a portion of the world global population, or a part of crypto, and the US population would obviously be a part of the global population. Then Binance would be the state level, the scratchy NFTs would be at the city, and our NFT YouTubers become our gas stations. Why are they gas stations? Because that is the primary place in which the existing lottery tickets are sold. So I wanted to find a way to see how exactly could scratch-offs become something kind of mainstream within crypto as a whole. And if the entry for lotteries in the US specifically is from gas stations, and that makes it convenient for everyone to get it, then the most convenient way that people get information from DeFi is by YouTubers. So to me, those come the exact same, right? But obviously we're still very, very new in crypto in regards to getting to these numbers that are equal to global population. But you gotta use this correlation so the math makes sense, or at least the hopium makes sense. All right, so before we go further, gonna show you guys basically where I got some of these numbers from and then put it into the chart. So I went with the US population. I didn't do the world population because we're just going down a notch. Then looked at the Houston. I happen to be from Houston, and that happens to be the first one, so it worked out really well for me. Then we went into actual lottery numbers, right? So the state lottery sales here, $105 billion. And then that was last year, 2021, sorry, 2 years ago. And then we look at the Texas lottery. So now we start getting more niche, and 8.1 billion, and 6.6 billion of that came from literally scratch-off tickets. So now we start getting some numbers. Then I had to look at how many gas stations were in the US, so pull some numbers from there. Then looking at the average consumer spending on scratch-off tickets in the US. And the number I came up with is a lot more conservative than this, because I just used the numbers for Texas and Houston. And then here going into where we're at in regards to global adoption. So cryptocurrency, how many people are there, how many total users. All these numbers take with a grain of salt. Nobody really knows, but it gives us, again, some numbers. And then where the market cap is compared to Binance and PancakeSwap, how many users are in PancakeSwap, and the DeFi market size, basically the market cap, right? So putting all that together, put it on a spreadsheet, because yeah, you guys don't want to read through all the articles. So let's just look at some data, because that's where the fun stuff comes in. Come on over, please. All right, so took those same numbers that I just showed you guys, and the US total population brings in $105 billion via lotteries. Texas alone makes up 8.1 billion of that. And that number you saw, so the scratch-offs for the Texas lottery is $6.6 billion from Texas. So it's a roughly 8%, 81% of all Texas lottery sales come from scratch-offs. And Texas has about 30 million people compared to the 335 million population. So we're about 9% of the total population, all right? So you follow that math so far. And then in Houston, Houston is 8% of all the total population in Texas. So now we can take a look at crypto. So the global crypto user adoption is sitting at around 300 million users. Remember, that's roughly close to the same amount of people in the United States. The United States was 335 million. Binance has 10% of that in users. And Texas is very similar to 10% of the global population, a little less, right? And DeFi wallets are about 4.8 million. And if we go specifically to PancakeSwap, I didn't write that up there, but PancakeSwap makes up 1.8 million users. So 1.8 million users of the Binance 30 million. And in Houston, we have 2.3 million out of the 30,000, right? So we're sitting at some similar numbers in regards to following this trend. That's all I can say. So I can write this one here, PancakeSwap. Doesn't mean anything, but it's cool to see. We have a long way to go in regards to massive user adoption, but just where we're sitting at now is pretty cool to see. So what does that mean? Well, in Houston, there's approximately 1,142 gas stations. I had to get this number by dividing by the percent of how much Texans make up for the global population, and then the total gas stations in the U.S. So this, take it with a grain of salt, could be more, could be less, but needed some numbers. And then the population of Houston, then the lottery value they contribute, because roughly when you take the total here and divide it by the population, that's the lottery value. So every year, Houstonians are contributing about $513 million to the lottery. And that's about $450,000 per gas station. So you can think of, again, the gas stations being like YouTubers. And I don't know how many YouTubers are in specifically the NFTs, but I'd say we could probably definitely hit that number, if not a little shy. Shit, in Drip, we probably have at least 100. So what does that mean in regards to expectations? So when I took this, each Texan contributes about $219 a year. This is per year towards this 513 lottery value. So I think this is very feasible when you look at the number of people we have on PancakeSwap. So that's just PancakeSwap users right here. And the lottery price is $25 to get in. So this is saying this would be less than buying less than one lottery ticket per month, would be the equivalent of what people are actually spending on lottery in real world. So that's, again, not very far off. Somebody dropping in $25 a month to buy a lottery ticket in hopes of winning 100 grand, 200 grand, a million, or whatever, I think that's highly likely. That's exactly why this one article here stated that Americans spend like $1,000 a year, because they go into the gas station, they're like, it's convenient. They're like, yeah, I'll throw $5 at it, once a week. That adds up very quick, right? So back to the numbers. So if we were to do the exact same thing, $219 per user times this, that's where I came up with the $394 million, basically. 394 million if you just spend $219 per person. And I think it'd be a lot more than that, because like that article said, they spend about $1,000 per year. So asking or looking at people spending about $80 a month on lottery tickets, which would be the tier 2, the 0.75, 0.3 BNB, right now $75. That's very likely. And this is just PancakeSwap users. Remember, the scratch off lottery is something that can be marketed to anyone in crypto, not just DeFi, anyone in crypto. Obviously, DeFi is a lot easier to get people associated with. And obviously, if they're already on PancakeSwap, it's even easier, because I believe he's only marketing this on the Binance Smart Chain, but there could be code, I guess, to transport it over to Avalanche or Polygon or something like that. But just off of these numbers alone of 1.8 million users on PancakeSwap and spending, the average of $1,000 a year, you guys already know what this is coming up to. That's $1.8 billion. And that's not far-fetched. I mean, as this number grows, then obviously, people can spend less, but we reach a larger user base. But the point being is that in the real world, Texans specifically in Houston are spending about $220 a year. And again, that's less than the price of one of the scratch-off lottery tickets per month. So that is very, very feasible. And just using that number puts us at 394 million. I didn't write that in here, but that's where this number comes from in case you guys are wondering. $394 million. So that's with one person buying a 0.1 BNB lottery ticket like every 5 weeks. So yeah, about every 5.2 weeks. And that's not unrealistic in my opinion. So just want to give you guys some hopiums with some numbers so you can see where that goes. And the big thing that makes this really, really kind of exponentially grow is, thinking of these NFT YouTubers as gas stations, because they each have access to a particular group or niche or a population of people. And if they all are promoting this because it's within their financial interest to do so, then this can grow exponentially and reach a larger audience very, very quickly. The same way your local gas station reaches only a few routine people filling up. But when you count all of those gas stations collectively, because they're not competing for the same people, because they're in a different area. Well, the same thing with YouTubers. They cover different areas with a different approach and a different feel or whatever the case may be. So yeah, they may all be coming from the 1.8 million in DeFi, or in PancakeSwap, but not all of them. No one YouTuber is going to have all of them, put it that way. And we don't need all of them to buy in. This just shows you where we're at right now. As crypto continues to grow, this 300 million, they said will be 1 billion within the next 2 to 3 years. So that means this number, if this 3x's, this will 3x. Like, it's just common sense math. So as this grows, and this white label service that Forex made, remember, it's out there, and once it's there, he doesn't have to do anything. It's already code. They just buy it and use it. And each person marketing it gets a percentage of that. So this is, groundbreaking. Like, I think everybody's sleeping on this because they don't understand. But when you look at $105 billion in the US lottery alone, that who knows where the hell this went, and from just within the Texas, 6 billion of that was in scratch-offs. Like, that's insane. 81% of lottery sales in one state was from people scratching stuff. And those people didn't get anything back. Most of them probably lost, but in Scratchy, 50% is going towards prizes. So you'll have, I guess, at least a 1 out of 2 shot of getting something back. And even if you lose, remember, you can stake it. So the incentives for people to buy a scratch-off ticket is, if I would argue, higher than a gas station ticket. Now, granted, we don't have access to everybody at gas stations, but again, as this grows, you gotta assume that it's easier and more convenient for someone to buy a digital scratch-off than it is to drive to a gas station and get one. So the more adopted this gets, the more YouTubers that spread it, the more marketing from the CMO, this can blow up very, very easily and really keep the floor price of Drip in the triple digits. Like, there's no reason it can't. Again, the numbers I have here, you're looking at $394 million that could go into Drip. Drip at its all-time high was just 200 million. This is double that. Remember, we were sitting at 1 million Drip tokens at about $200. So that was 200 million market cap of Drip at its all-time high. A scratch-off utilizing people spending less than $220 a year with everyone in the existing PancakeSwap ecosystem could 2x the previous Drip market cap that we had. Just think about that for a second. That's insane. And this can continue to grow, because just because one person buys does not mean they're not going to buy again. Does not mean they're not going to have, this number is going to increase and we get more people into it. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Hope that makes sense for you guys. Until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.